Hi everyone, it's Mary with Happy Pine Soap. Welcome back. Today we'll be making birthday cake soap with some wonderful layers that remind me of chocolate and strawberry cake with some icing on top. And we'll be separating this into 4 separate mini batches. This will help us control the trace and acceleration so that we're able to pour each layer in a nice and neat fashion without it getting too thick on us where it doesn't pour nicely. I've already heated my oils and separated them out into 4 separate amounts that are equal. And we'll be using 2 separate colors today, Hot Pants and Magic Beans from Mad Micas, as well as some titanium dioxide that I have pre-mixed with some olive oil as well. We're going to measure our colorants out. Each of these micas will be 1 teaspoon of mica with 1 tablespoon of lightweight oil. I like to use sweet almond oil. It's a very nice lightweight carrier oil. And we're going to have, again, the 1 strawberry looking layer, as well as 2 chocolate looking layers. That's the Magic Beans here going in. Magic Beans is a wonderful brown color, but actually my fragrance is going to be chocolate for the 2 brown layers, and chocolate will discolor the batter to a dark brown anyways, but that takes a few days to happen. So to know what it's going to look like, I went ahead and used Magic Beans. And here's the sweet almond oil. And again, I use 1 tablespoon of sweet almond oil, and I will be mixing that with my mini mixer so that each of these micas is pre-mixed and has a wonderful consistency that's very easy to stir into the soap batter. And here I am stirring the micas in with my mini mixer. So each of these 4 separate mini batches will be 1 pound, and the embeds that I will be using will equal about a pound as well. So my entire loaf will be 5 pounds. So each of these pre-mixed micas, that 1 teaspoon to 1 tablespoon, is going into 1 pound of soap batter. The embeds that you saw in the original photo that look kind of like confetti in cake batter, they are actually from a prior soap that I made months ago, and I cut them into very, very small pieces. So I will be using essentially soap ends from another loaf to make my little confetti embeds here. And as you see here, I am actually stirring in my micas now into the pre-mixed oils that are already melted. This is a wonderful and easy way of doing layered soap that, again, allows you to control the trace and acceleration, and you can pour each batch 1 at a time and not have to rush or panic as the soap starts to accelerate, which it can sometimes do that. What I like to do is also a steep water discount. So I have a 45% lye solution that I will be using to make these layers, and that allows the soap to not only thicken up very quickly, but also set up in my mold very, very fast, which is very convenient so that you can pour the soap layers one right after the other, and it also has the added bonus of reducing soda ash. Now you see me mixing the titanium dioxide around. Even though this is pre-mixed in the bag, it does separate a little bit when it's been on the shelf. So I like to really smush it up quite a bit before I use it so that it doesn't create those white specks in the soap batter. And I'm adding about half a tablespoon here and stirring it around. As you see, it's kind of messy. The fragrance for the 2 chocolate colored batters is indeed chocolate from Midwest Fragrance, and I've already pre-mixed this in kaolin clay the night before, and I go ahead and add this now at this point as well. Again, the mini batches, you can actually get everything ready before you add the lye, which makes it super convenient. And I'm splitting the fragrance into 2 separate equal amounts for both of the chocolate layers. The white and pink layers, I'm using dark fruit from Crafter's Choice, which has also been pre-mixed with kaolin clay the night before. This fragrance is known to accelerate, which you will see later as I mix the lye in. So it's really handy, again, doing this in mini batches because some fragrances will actually accelerate the batter pretty rapidly. So this is a wonderful way of controlling for that. The dark fruit fragrance was also separated into 2 separate equal amounts, and each amount went into the white and pink batter as well. And now you see me straining my lye solution. This is from the main batch of lye solution, and I will be splitting it off into 4 separate mini amounts as well. Each colored layer will be getting about 4 ounces of lye solution, roughly. A tip I will give you if you would like some more bubbles in your soap or more lather to your soap is to add sugar to it. So that's basically what I've done here. The night before, I weighed out my distilled water and added 3 tablespoons of sugar into some warm distilled water. And then I actually put my distilled water with the sugar in it in my refrigerator overnight to get it nice and cool. And then in the morning, as I'm prepping all my supplies, I went ahead and added the lye to the sugar water. And the reason why you want to have cold sugar water that's pre-made is because it can actually volcano upward and get hot very, very rapidly. So I learned that the hard way. So now I always do it the night before and make sure the water itself is very cold before adding the lye. All right, we're ready for the first layer. Because this recipe has a higher amount of palmitic and stearic acids, I wanted my oils to be well above 100 degrees, so they're about 110. And my lye is about 100, so they're about 10 degrees difference between one another. And go ahead and get your lye solution into the oils. I like to pour it down the side of the pour containers to try to not introduce more air than necessary. And I only had to do about a couple of bursts, about 10 seconds each, with my stick blender, and it was ready to pour. This particular layer stayed fluid very nicely, so this chocolate fragrance from Midwest Fragrance does not accelerate, and it may have even decelerated the batter a little bit. It was very easy to pour, it was very easy to control. It did not thicken up rapidly, even with that big water discount that I used. These are the embeds that I pre-chopped. And we're going to go ahead and add about a cup of them in. I accidentally forgot to add them in to the pour container before I poured, but because this layer stayed nice and fluid, it actually didn't give me any difficulty whatsoever, and I was able to stir them in. Don't forget to give your mold a little tap on the counter to remove air bubbles. And this time I had to heat my oils in the microwave gently to get them warmer, 114 degrees here, as you see, and the lye is cooling a little bit, but it's still not a problem. And once again, pour it down the side of the stir container. And if you're wondering what the shimmery layer on the chocolate layer is, it's actually mica I had put down. I was attempting to do some mica lines, but actually this mica was too light and you really can't even see it in the finished product. So yeah, you can leave this particular mica out if you want to, or use a darker one. All right, we're on to the pink layer. This one has the dark fruit fragrance, and as you can very easily see, this fragrance made the batter much thicker than the chocolate fragrance. This type of fragrance is the one you have to be careful. Anything that says slightly accelerates or will accelerate, you can be pretty sure that it's going to set up much faster. This is the type of fragrance that if you leave it in the pouring cup for more than 5 or 10 minutes, you will not be able to get it into the mold. So that is why I like to do these layered designs, especially with fragrances that misbehave. I like to do them in separate batches for this exact reason. And this time I did not forget to add my cut up soap into the pour container. Makes it a lot easier to stir it and then layer it on top of the pink layer. And as you see, this chocolate layer remains a lot more fluid than the pink layer. It's really amazing what two different fragrances look like and how they perform. And now you can see I am adding a little bit of the mica, but as I mentioned, I wasn't really happy with this mica line, so you're more than welcome to ignore this part. And the last layer is our white layer with the titanium dioxide in it. And again, it has that dark fruit fragrance, so you can see the immense difference here between the brown batters and the white and pink ones. And this one I had to work pretty quickly because again, this accelerates and it sets up a lot faster. So I have to really get a move on so it doesn't become soap on a stick inside the pour container. And here I am trying to get it into the mold as fast as possible. And I will have to actually smooth it a little bit with the spatula just because it was so thick. But it still left enough time to do a little bit of texturing on top as well, which you can see here. And I did finish this off with a little bit of mica on the top, just for an extra pretty cake-like decoration. Kind of reminds me of frosting. And that's kind of what I was going for as well. The mica I'm using is called Pineapple Assault, and that's also from Mad Micas. And I'm just using a tea strainer to carefully shake some over the top. I did go ahead and oven process this loaf. So you turn your oven on to 170 degrees, you turn it off, and then you put the loaf in and leave the oven light on. And you can take it out within a few hours. All right, here is the cut. This is everybody's favorite part. I was able to cut this in about 6 to 7 hours. So this recipe again is a much harder recipe that is meant to be long lasting as well. It has a high amount of palmitic and stearic acids, which basically are your cocoa butter, your palm oil, palm kernel oil or palm kernel flakes, and shea butter. So a very high concentration of these type of oils and butters, and it makes for a wonderfully hard bar that's hard right out of the mold in a few hours, as well as much longer lasting in your shower as well. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, feel free to drop a comment or like my video or subscribe to my channel. All of your support means so much, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next soapy video. Take care, everybody.